know him. He was a former
President, vice president, student, done CCIT, DEM, few IDM courses, and PwC as well. So bona fide ICCIT for sure.
Awesome. So thank you for taking part in the interviews. One of the questions I have is, what do you wish you knew about money management prior to graduating? Like, what do you wish you knew before you graduated?
Well, I think during school, with what the rush of having OSAP and delaying responsibility, I think I felt like I had a safety net. I think that things are always going to be this way, like a lot of things. But after you graduate, reality kind of hits you very, very hard, and you're not a kid anymore. You can't rely on government or your parents or really anyone else to just do everything for you, and that's something I kind of had shocked into me and learned the hard way. So for me, it was the first thing would be knowing that I should have planned for that. And there's nothing really in school or the government telling you steps to take before you graduate or things like that. Luckily, we have some new program with OSAP, if you don't make a certain level of income, you don't have to pay right away and whatnot. But I would have preferred if I knew that I should have planned ahead. On top of that, I think a lot of us, expect to land a job very easily. And if you do land a job, and if you're lucky like that, it can be manageable to manage a student loan and all the other living expenses that you may have. But I gotta tell you guys, especially in our industry, it's not that easy. It's definitely not that easy, and probably a big contributing factor to why I'm running my own company right now, which is not as glamorous as it sounds, or as profitable as it sounds, but it's a living. Yeah.
Awesome. But if you can go back in time, what one thing? I know you said you didn't realize that you had to be proactive as a change your finances. If you had a chance to go back in time, what one thing you would do, or one change you would make that would have helped you more after you graduated?
I would have been way more thrifty. I remember all the times I'd go out to jackasses with friends, to 168 buffets, to concerts downtown. And just because you're in school doesn't mean you can't live, but it doesn't mean you have to spend your entire paycheck either.
Live responsibly.
Live responsibly. Live within your means. Set aside, if I only just set aside $100 a month, I would have much more freedom in terms of how I decide to do things. Whether I put that towards rent or loans or whatever, really. Looking back, I can definitely see how I and a lot of my friends were very loose with our wallets, shall we say.
Do you think your cohort, the bunch of you that graduated 2 years ago, do you think everybody kind of more or less in the same mindset? It was a shock after leaving school and realizing the reality of your financial situation?
Definitely a shock, because we're focused on completely different things. Some of us are focused on academic research, some of us are focused on graduating, some of us are focused on getting a job, some of us are focused on family pressures and the things that are important to other people in our lives. But no one really talks about money and loans and things like that. So that being said, yeah, it was a huge shock. It was an immense shock. And on top of that, I kind of felt all alone. And it makes you feel very lonely. And, I'm not sure if humbling is the right word, but...
Well, it must be terrifying to some extent, yeah?
Yes.
I mean, to be out there in the world and not having the wherewithal or the means, or even knowing where to turn or the first thing to do. But how did you get over that? In the last 2 years, how have you helped yourself, or where have you turned to for advice and help generally for personal finance management?
So I started going on Reddit just to see what other people were doing. There's actually a growing community of students from U of T who are actively contributing conversations, talking about things like how did you manage your loan and whatnot, blah blah. But when
You should connect with me, like, with the students.
Sure. And but beyond that, I started once I started being more exposed to the different ways that the banking industry works, investments, and how easy it is per se to live a sustainable life, I got hooked and wanted to learn more. So I started reading more books. I found this website called Mr. Money Mustache. He's 45 and he's retired, and he has multiple streams of income coming in, and that's something that no one ever talks about, which is to be remotely above average financially speaking. You can't have one source of income. It's just not possible. To have your money work for you and to have it work while you sleep and whatnot and all those sort of things. Passive income. No one talks about it. And that's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's something that is not typically something a lot of successful people want to share. They kind of want to hold those secrets themselves. Because in most industries, in most markets, the more people that get in, the less return there is to go around.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to share with students? Something that I haven't asked you that you feel is important to let your,
I know at first a lot of this content and topics surrounding money and saving loans can seem a little bit dense, but once you get into it, it's actually incredibly fascinating.
That's what I've been saying.
In terms of, because it's not just about money, it's about how the world works. It's about how the guy down the street or your neighbor is doing so well. With very simple strategies and tactics. And on top of that, there's so many new tools and information out there that it's so readily accessible that it doesn't even take that long to get savvy and to get started on building your life, whether it's Wealth Simple or really any common finance tool today. You need a budget is another one, which is free for college students. I know it can be a pain to use, but trust me, it's the best thing I ever did. And then it really.
So we can summarize by saying life planning is financial planning?
Yep.
Yeah?
I would say that.
Would you agree with that statement?
I would say that, and when I can't say that everyone will think this way, but when you get out into the world and you start working and you get a little bit older, you start to see all the things that your parents have done for you and all the people you care about in your life, and you start to look at them and say, wow, I wish I could do something for them. But if you can't be self-sustaining, how are you supposed to help other people?
Right. It's like that analogy, you got to put on your mask first.
Yeah.
The airplane is going down. You can't think about other people. You have to put on yours first before you can help them.
Yeah.
Because when you pass out, you're used to your own. Right?
Yeah. And the greatest feeling in the world is helping other people. So.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Happy to be here.